It's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Every once in a while I like to do a DIY that helps you to save money, and this is a really good one because if you pay for glue dots, you know that they can get very expensive, especially if you have kids doing crafts with you and they go crazy, you know, glue dotting the project all to heck. So I thought what I would do is show you a project that you can make with wax paper, one of these notepads that you get in the mail for donations, or any notepad. All you need is the back cover that's got that magnet on it. The reason we want that magnet is because after we do our project, we're going to want to be able to attach it to something metal so it's always nearby. And that's going to be cut to 5.5 inches long. That's the longest you're going to be able to have your paper. Then you're going to need your wax paper, and you're going to cut your wax paper with a paper trimmer, or you can use scissors. I'm going to show you how to do this both ways. Well, I'm not going to show you how to do it, but I'm going to tell you how to do these projects so that you can do it with minimal supplies. There is your alternative. You can use a ruler and scissors and cut it the same way. It's not that big of a deal, but I wanted to make sure I kind of went through the steps with you, and then I put it in backwards. And this really is something that will work for you over and over again. You won't have to buy the dots at all, the glue dots, or I think some of them are called zots, not dots, or they're called zots. So that's something else that this would replace. You're going to buy Aleene's Tack It Over and Over. This whole bottle will make you thousands, I mean thousands and thousands of glue dots. So you're going to need to buy this. Buy it at Michael's or Joann's or AC Moore or Hobby Lobby when they're having their coupon, and it won't be very expensive. So that's definitely a must. It has to be Aleene's Tack It Over and Over. And once you've made that big investment of a couple bucks, maybe $3, I'm not sure, then you've got it made. So I'm cutting my paper to 3.5 inches wide. And you, again, use scissors if you don't have a cutting tool like this. It's easier for me for accuracy because, you know, I'm going to do another project with you in a few minutes that's going to be another video that I'm making a dog toy, and I cut fleece. Let me tell you, you do not want to see me do anything like that with scissors. It's so uneven, you'll get a big laugh out of that one. So wait for it. You'll just realize then how really bad I am with a pair of scissors. I'm sure this is not at all straight either, but we're going to go with it. And that last piece isn't long enough. Then we need our paper to be 5.5 inches long. So I'm just going to cut it in here, and hopefully we'll definitely be able to get 2 out of each one of these, which is good. And then we'll be able to make our project. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me cut these. You've got the idea. You're going to cut it the length of your cardboard with the magnet on it and the width. See how it fits on there? That's what you're going to be doing. Oh, I forgot one more thing you're going to need, and that's a stapler. Sorry, I forgot. What? Oh, I'm lying. One more thing you're going to need, sorry, is a piece of paper, decorator paper. You don't really need that, but I'm going to do that because I want mine to be cute when it's done. I took a piece of scrapbook paper that was 12 inches long. I'm going to cut it down to 11. We're going to score it at the 5.5 mark because that's how long our paper is, and then we're going to go 1 notch beyond it because this isn't going to be a really wide book, but we do need to make sure that we have a little bit of room to fold it over and make sure it's right. Then you're going to want to fold those two score marks. See how it's folded like the top of a booklet? Then what we're going to do is we're just going to cut off this excess piece, and I'm not going to get out my cutting paper trimmer. I'm just going to use scissors because that's what you're going to do if you don't have anything like a paper trimmer. And I just used the scoreboard. If you don't have a scoreboard, I'm going to link the video that I made that shows you exactly how you can make your own scoreboard out of a tablet, a legal pad, or like a long piece of paper. No, a long, not long, just yeah, it has to be like an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. That would work for you. So I've cut all my papers down to size, and now you can do this a bunch of different ways, but I think I want to put another score in it, like right there. So instead of scoring, I'm going to show you how you can do it. You're going to do this regardless if you have a scoreboard or not. You're going to need to do this on this, and I'm just going to eyeball it a little bit. I'm just going to go down that far, and I'm going to use the end of a paintbrush because that'll work fine. You can see the mark, it's there. And then my pad will bend up so that when I need to get to the paper, I won't have to flip up the whole thing because I'm going to put staples right here. So we could put the glue dots on now, or we can put them on later. I think I'm going to put the glue dots on later because I want to get my book set up. I want to make sure. Now my magnet might not work through this back sheet. If it doesn't work through the back sheet and you really want it magnetized, then just cut the back off, like right above that. We cut it right there. So if you don't want, we'll see in a second if my magnet will hold without it. No, mine doesn't, so I'm going to cut right below that score. And I decided that I didn't want to use any kind of paper crafting tools to put it together with, because if I did, then it's one more thing you'd need to have. So now I have my magnet on the back, and my pad is going to go like that over it. I need to cut it down just a little teeny. No, I think it's good. Huh. Now I'm going to cut it a little bit. Just a titch. Just a little. Okay. The reason I'm putting mine magnetized is I have a bunch of these huge lights that come down on my surface, and I can just stick it to the side of that lamp and it'll hold it up. I thought that was a good plan. Maybe not. Hopefully it'll work. So we've made our cover, and what I've done after I've cut out all of my papers, I don't know if you can see them on the background, but they're there. I've put one inside the cover, and I did that for a reason. I wanted to show you. Well, I'll pull the back off. You don't need that right now. I put two in because I wanted to show you what happens. I put one top page in because you don't want these to stick to your cover. So I put this page in so that it keeps the glue dots from sticking to anything, and then this is my first page of glue dots. I don't know if you can see them really well, but you're going to want to scatter them out, and I'll show you as I do it on the other ones. But you want to make sure that you have one page under your cover that has nothing on it. I hope you follow that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take our Aleenes. Okay, what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you the size that you're going to do them and the way that I would space them out. Remember again that first 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch at the top, you're going to be stapling, so don't go close to the top of your page. And you want to space them out depending on how small you've made your dots. And I'm going to make these really small because I'm going to use them for like behind little bows, things like that. I'm going to space them, they're roughly 1 inch apart. Maybe less, maybe 1/2 inch. And if you hold the dauber up farther away from the paper, you're going to get a rounded circle. If you touch the paper with your dauber, you're going to end up with a flatter one. And sometimes you might want flatter, and sometimes you might want, you know, the ones that are like the ones I'm making that are more like little balls. This is really fun to do, and it's a really great de-stressor for you. And think about how much money you're saving when you're doing it. That's the greatest part about it. So that is how you would lay them down. Then I wanted to show you on this. I'm going to put it on the pink paper. This is the one I have done already, and I did them roughly the same size as the smaller ones, and that's how big they come out. Can you see that? That's I think they're really a good size. I'm going to hold that up closer to the camera so that you can see them. Can you see that? That's how big those are, the small ones. Those would be the ones you'd put under a small bow, and then the ones on this side are ones you'd use as something to raise up whatever you're using it on. So you're going to make different sizes for different things. If you want the really longer flat ones, let me show you how to make the ones that are big and flat, like they make, you know how they make theirs. Put your end of your glue right on your paper, and you're going to hold it there and squeeze it and try and stay in a circle. That's going to create a huge one. That's too big. I'm trying to not put too much glue on, and then just kind of flattening it out. So you're going to kind of, you see how I'm smearing the tip around? This is going to make gigantic ones, but they're going to be flat. So let's say you want something that you could roll under a bow or roll under a project. That's how you do it, right like that. You just smear them out, and this one will probably still be kind of rounded because I got too much glue in it. It absolutely doesn't matter that this one's a little bit square. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to see these, and you can always roll that up, you know, with a pointy tool or something, and end up with them in the way you want them to be. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to set these aside, let them dry, and then we'll come back and put our project together. So I started stacking up my sheets, and all you need to do, or they're almost, well, they're dry for all intents and purposes, but you want to make sure that you're going to stack these so that that top end is all correct, the one that is longer than the edge that, you know, we didn't put the glue dots near that top. You want to make sure that you continue to line them up so that your glue dots or your pages are as straight as possible. It's a little bit tricky because now they're a little, you know, they'll adhere to each other a little bit. I have my back piece that has a magnet on. Now you don't have to have a magnet. I just used a piece of cardboard that had a magnet, but you can just use the back of a box if you want it, and make it so that you can put it, like slide it somewhere that you can find it easily. It doesn't have to be a magnetic one like I made. I just did that, as I said, because I have this lamp that makes it so much easier for me to use it on. Then I have one page that I had laying on top of, or on my under my cover, and then this is my cover. Remember, I have one piece of wax paper that I adhered to my cover, and then I'm gonna take my stack, make sure I keep them as flat as possible, and I'm gonna, that piece is gonna fight me, I'm sure. Then I'm gonna line it up. You can see I have a lot of the edges sticking out. That's not a problem. We're just going to trim those off because I don't have anything close to the edges. And then I'm going to make sure everything's in there far enough that my staples will catch every one of those pages. If you've never seen a stapler like this, this is the greatest. It's from Staples. Yeah, it's from Staples, but it has some kind of ratcheting mechanism in it, so it makes it, oh, so simple to use. And then I'm just going to put enough staples across the top. I'm going to go with 3 so that my piece is completely stapled down. I just thought I would tell you one more thing that I did. I went around the top with some washi tape a few times to cover the backs of the magnets. That way you won't catch your fingers on it. I thought that was a good idea, and I hope you'll try that as well. Then you're going to take some good scissors, or just some scissors that will cut through this many layers. It doesn't have to be great scissors. Oops, I'm going to turn it the other way so you can see it better. And I'm just going to start, I'm holding the whole thing so it's kind of tight and so that my layers don't shift. And then we're just going to trim the edges up, make sure we don't have any excess paper. And there you have it. I'm going to keep this one right by my side, and of course they're all going to stick together like this, but they should easily come apart when you pull them apart, you know, like after they've dried. See, like that, they'll come apart, and then you just use that page and go to the next. Then when you're done with the book, I would recommend pulling it apart. I did try this, doing one page, you know, like just doing this page, and then I had to wait for that to dry and then go to the next page. But what I was thinking is this: when you're doing this, let's say you used up this page, what I would do is, if you're going to not do any crafts until a couple days, or well, the next day, the next morning, I would refill up this page with glue dots, and then you wouldn't have to worry about, oh man, I have 4 or 5 pages I'm going to have to fill, and then you'd have to take it apart again. I wouldn't want to take it apart. I would just try and refill it as I go, maybe a page at a time. That is how to make your own glue dots. I will put the prices up of what you will have invested in this. I'm not going to include the cost of the wax paper because I thought about it this way. You know, when you get takeout, sometimes they'll wrap your sandwich in double layers of deli paper. As long as it's got that wax on it, you could use that. You could use anything that would work similar to wax paper, like parchment paper would work as well, I think. But you'd want to try it to make sure they don't stick together. But that is a really inexpensive way to make yourselves portable, easy glue dots. You could take them to crops, you can take them to school, you could put them in your kids' backpack. They're just there and easy to use. I hope that you enjoyed this and that you'll tell your friends about me on social media, and that you will give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and also check out the rest of my ways to save money over the holidays and simple DIY gifts that should be easing your stress for the holidays. I really appreciate you watching. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.